I remember overdosing behind that building there.
Oh, wow.
And I wasn't a heroin addict. I started out with pills, first of all, back in the day.
Okay.
Drinking alcohol growing up.
Okay.
Opiates, perks. I'm vain, obviously.
That's all good.
I
We all
know that,
are.
though.
We all are. So
I
what's
thought
your
I just
name,
need to
hon?
make sure I look good.
I know, that's right.
LaShaun.
LaShaun?
Yes.
Oh, you're so pretty, LaShaun.
I appreciate that. Thank you
That's
so
real.
much.
How
I
old
get
are
it from
you,
my
hon?
mom.
I know that's right.
44. I'll be 45 in September.
Oh, you're a Virgo, huh?
Libra.
A Libra. Okay, so it's at the end of September.
September 30th.
September 30th.
Yeah, and my brother and my sister are both Libras.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm 9 years older than my sister, 7 years older than my brother.
Oh, cool.
And we're all Libras. Can you believe that?
Where are they at?
They are in Boston.
So where are you from?
I'm from Hyde Park. I'm from Boston.
Oh.
I grew up there. I was born at Brigham and Women's. I think I lived at Dudley Street Projects for a short time when I was a baby. And then my grandmother got an apartment out at Georgetown Houses in Hyde Park. And my mother had Section 8. We lived over on Franklin Hill when I was like 4 or 5.
Okay.
And so we went back and forth. I went back and forth. And then I ended up staying with my grandmother. I think my mother had to move. So I really didn't know what was going on as far as being little. If my mother had to move, whatever happened. But I know that her attitude sucked. So I wanted to stay with my grandma.
Oh, okay.
So I stayed with my grandma in Georgetown. And I grew up in Hyde Park.
Oh, cool. Did you have were both parents in the house when you were growing up?
No.
Just
I was
mom?
raised by Grammy, Auntie, Mommy, Uncle Sean. And that's just like my, immediate family, basically. It was like 8 of us in this 3-bedroom apartment. But we were family. It was like my mom, her sister, her brother, and their mother. And then my aunt's daughter, so that's my first cousin. So she's like my sister. And then my mother goes and has 2 more kids, Jonathan and Amber. But we were all there.
Okay.
My grandmother was busting her ass to take care of her. She loved me. She made sure I had braces. She made sure that if I said, hey, I wanted to do this, why not? Let her do this. My mother would be like, and she, I had a lot of opportunities because of that.
Okay.
And then, so my dad, he was around, but my mom and dad didn't get along that well. Obviously, they separated when I was a baby.
Do you have children?
I have one daughter, Chloe,
okay.
and she's 12. She just turned 12 April 7th. I love her.
Sounds so adorable.
It is adorable. I was just calling her my Chloe bun when she was in my belly.
Oh, okay. Where's Chloe at?
She's with my mommy and my sister.
Oh, that's good. They take care of her.
Yes. Anywho, so what I was saying real quick is that growing up,
You were talking about Chloe.
I was talking about Chloe. I wanted to, before I went back to Chloe, finish this thought that I had about growing up without my dad. Okay, so then he came back like 2 years later. My sister was born. That day, he was clean from then on. He had a drug problem. So my dad was clean for over 40 years because he wanted me. He wanted to be in my life, and he showed and proved that he was a man.
Really? Your dad got clean for you? Oh, man, wow.
Well,
That's a
for
beautiful
him.
thing.
For him.
For him,
but
too.
he couldn't do, because they were just like, even if he was a little aggravated, whatever, with my mom, they could have allowed him to see me. But he needed to change his behaviors. He was angry, mean, upset, and he would just get people's asses. His mother had a heart attack while he was yelling at him and died. While he was yelling at her. So this is the thing. So then,
You said, wait, say that part again?
okay, so his mom was yelling at him. This is before he was born. He was yelling at his mom, and she had like a heart attack.
Oh, man, your grandmother?
Yeah, but I didn't know her.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, my grandmother on my mother's side died in 2009, kidney failure. She had a stroke, but she worked so hard. She had a 6th grade education, and she did so much for us. Had cars. She didn't know how to invest. She didn't know how to build generational wealth. Right. We could have had a house instead of a 3-bedroom, 2 cars in Georgetown housing.
Yeah.
You understand?
A lot of us are just not up on that.
You're not up on it. I'm still learning. So yeah.
Are you homeless?
Yeah.
So how did you get here? How did you get to homelessness?
I think mainly I got here because of my drug use.
What's your drug of like that you use?
The one that kicks my ass is crack cocaine.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a tough drug.
That shit is crazy.
It is crazy.
I keep saying, and then I'm gonna stop.
Right.
It's like I feel like I gotta have like 5 8 balls and stay up for 2 weeks and then I'm done. Done for how long? Until I'm like, it's crazy. But I had a reprieve, right? I started smoking that when I was 36 years old.
That's when you started smoking?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm 44.
Now you're 44. So almost 10 years.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. But people have been smoking for 40 years that I've been around. Everybody smokes.
Who introduced you to it?
So I had to go to a program. So I moved down south, right, when I was 27. Did not have a kid. My father was helping me straighten out my life, my credit, go back to school. And when I had my daughter, which was 5 years later after I moved to South Carolina, my dad suggested, my mom came down there only because he came to Boston, picked her up and brought her there. So we had to stay in an apartment. I got an apartment. He helped pay for me to live there. So me and my mother stayed there with me and the baby for 3 months. And my dad decided to say, well, I think you should go to a program when you go back to you should go back to Boston with your mother, and then she can watch Chloe while you go to a program. I go, what? Like, that's not feasible for me. I can't be away from my baby for any length of time. Excuse me. I was that type of person that, like, okay, first it was like, oh, who's been in jail? Not me. And I still haven't, but who's been, who's got a racket? Not me. Who's done heroin? Not me. Who's done crack?
So,
not me. Next thing you know, it's me.
Quick question.
I'll tell you.
How do you support yourself out here?
I don't be out here.
You don't be out here like that?
No, I control my use.
Oh, okay.
I do. I used to be wild when I first started, but I had a job.
Oh, okay. So tell me about that. What was life like previous to being in the streets and stuff like that? What was that like?
Okay, so
Working, school, like before drugs and stuff.
Okay, before drugs, I can tell you, and I was going to tell you right up where I had been clean for a year after I tried crack.
Okay.
Okay, so before that, before drugs, growing up, I was such a happy girl. I was like this,
Right.
with no, enhancements. I didn't have to be pumped up with something to have my natural happiness. I was obviously naive because I was a good person. So you think that everybody's like you, right? You even think everybody's toes are the same until you realize they don't. You thought everybody had toes like this.
Right.
You thought everybody's family did this. So anyway, I was ambitious. I worked a lot.
Okay. What did you work doing?
I worked at the computer center. Okay, so I camp. So I was a camp counselor. I always wanted to be a teacher or a therapist, something like that. So I was doing camp counseling, every summer.
It's not too late, like, I mean.
Of course not.
At some point, you can make a change, and counseling people is something that will be very good because.
I'm gonna have to.
Once you decide to get clean, people will want to talk to somebody who understands their situation.
If they can do it, I can do it, is what it is. And it's so right. Like, I saw this girl that was so, what? You literally never come back from it. And I can too. You have to put your mind right. There has to be some certain things going on, all right?
Right.
When you lose your kid, whatever, not lose your kid, I didn't lose her, but because my mother, her expectations were so high for me to even just be around, call. I didn't send any money, so she's bitching. Like, that has nothing to do with the relationship that we have to build. Write me a bill.
Speaking of that, like, how do you support yourself out here?
Yeah. Okay, right. I know. It was great. I have a DTA.
Okay.
So I have the assistance. Sometimes I, get rid of things that, get some money for things that I can spare.
Okay.
Okay. I don't want to be too specific. You know,
That's
I have
fine.
no idea where this is going to be aired.
Okay.
You know.
It's gonna be on YouTube, just so you
Oh,
know.
that's so cool.
Yep.
I told ya.
What's the
I'm
worst thing?
sad.
I know that's right. What's the worst thing that's happened to you out here, or and like the worst thing you've seen out here?
All right, so I remember overdosing behind that building there,
Oh, wow.
and I wasn't a heroin addict. I started out with pills first of all back in the day,
Okay.
drinking alcohol growing up,
Okay.
opiates, perks. I didn't even realize that made you like that until I realized it, and I was already hooked. So
Right.
working to get pills. Getting pills to work. I use it as self-medication because I was still going to school, I was still going to work. I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that. So I had a job to pay for that habit, right? Then I moved down south, I have a job to pay for that habit again because I got it again. All right, so everything I did as far as a drug prior to coming back to Boston, I paid for working.
Okay.
Okay, I just managed it. But when I came out to Boston, and I went to a program, I was clean for like 2 years. It was awesome. I was seeing my daughter. I was in transitional housing. I was in an electrical union apprentice, you know, and for local 103. And my and I was working at Dunkin' Donuts and doing the pre-apprenticeship program. But anyway, my cousin. Right then and there, it was, whoa, what to do? My mind was, you know, I'm still coping with how to cope with, you know, life on life
I'm
terms.
so sorry.
So yeah, thank you. It was sad. It was hard. She was like my sister, and I was like, why? You know, we love you. But she was having some really serious mental illness issues, obviously, if that was the case, right? So then I think I substituted, you know, drugs for this young man that I met. And he charged me into thinking he was helping me save my money. We bought a car, and we were, you know, intimate, and all of that. And then next thing you know, he was like, we're besties. And the next thing you know, he's telling me, besties don't do that. I'm like, we've been doing it the whole time. So he really, and then he had me feeling low about myself. And I really feel like I degraded myself, and I let him have all my money. I couldn't buy the tools I wanted. I couldn't go buy my own coffee during coffee break. And I couldn't buy cigarettes. I'm making 17 something an hour, and like in a month gonna be making 18 something an hour. Why don't I have everything I need? I'm drug free. What's the problem? It was like I was using. It was so horrible. And it was a secret that I had, that this guy's taking on. He wouldn't even let me drive the car that we bought together. He had me take some plates off of my neighbor's car. You know, he was just a thug, and he charmed me. He saw I was, and then he saw I was giving. I brought his girls a pair of Jordans. They're down south. Who knows if he really had girls down south, right?
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But I brought my daughter Jordans too as well. I didn't.
Of
but
course.
I ended up messing up a lot of the relationship by listening to him between my mother and my daughter for like a month. Yeah, because you know.
So what, if there's anything you could change, what would you go back and change?
I would go back and change the fact that, like, I didn't fight right after I was ready to have my daughter. I was like, well, I gotta do this, that, and the other anyway first. I didn't put up a fuss. I just let it be. I should have went over there and whatever happened. I want to see my baby. I didn't make a fuss. I was sad.
Oh,
And I stayed sad.
I'm sorry.
And I did what I had to do. Wrote her letters, I colored for her. But now, that's enough. You know, I saw her when she was 9 one time. She came to a pro. She was so sweet. She's so smart. And she asked me questions like, so, and then she was like, a lot of people love me. You know, she knows she had a whole family. I love her. My mother was good. My mother is good at discipline and, you know, strictness, getting the kids to, you know, behave in a disciplinarian. And I'm not that good at it, but that's why it takes a village, right? And
yes,
my
it does.
sister's doing the education part because my sister's a teacher. She followed that to me.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
my
So-
dad just died.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I know it's quick, fast, and hard. We gotta go.
No, it's okay. So, question. Well, I just got a couple more questions.
Oh
quickly.
yeah, they're questions. I thought this was a monologue.
You're funny.
I know. Thank you.
What would be rock bottom for you?
Rock bottom? Well, I think I'm already there, and I'm just like preparing myself because I know how to get up there.
I heard
right?
that. Yep.
Okay.
Any advice for anybody who doesn't do drugs?
That doesn't do drugs?
Yeah.
Well, everybody has a vice, right? So just remember that.
Even to the children.
And the children, you can love things, but everything in moderation.
Everything in moderation.
Everything in moderation.
That's good advice.
Thank you.
All right, sis. I really appreciate you.
Same here.
God bless you.
God bless you.
I really appreciate you sharing your
I
story.
really was honored to be a part of this, honestly.